My name is Craig Robertson. I teach at Seneca College and at Durham College as well. Inclusive teaching for me really means including everybody in the class. I'm a big believer that, especially in broadcasting, that everybody has a voice, regardless of gender, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of anything, of disability. Everybody, in my mind, has a voice in that class. My philosophy of inclusive teaching is to really, as it is, include everybody in the class in some way. An example of inclusive teaching practices that I use is a few years ago I had a student who was visually impaired, and I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for us as broadcasters to exploit the whole idea of sound. I let him kind of lead the way, with me being the teacher obviously, in how sound is incorporated, and let the other students kind of see and kind of hear how he hears sound, but for them to incorporate that into their work as well. Not only taught myself something about, oh, that's an interesting viewpoint, but was able to teach everybody else about something that he hears, and in the end, hopefully makes them better broadcasters. I'm a big believer in giving women a voice. Teaching for over 15 years, I haven't had a class where it's been primarily women. It's always primarily men. I always bring in women to talk to the class from a female perspective about being an announcer, especially when I'm teaching announcing, and what the role for women is in broadcasting. I think that's important for the women and the young ladies in the class to hear. I also think it's important for the men to hear that as well. I think it brings perspective and it brings balance to the industry, and I think that's really, really important. I had a young student who had a trachea. His dream was to be a radio sports announcer, specifically a wrestling announcer. And his mother had written a little book that he gave to me at the start of the school year that explained his story. So I got a little bit of a background on Nick, and it was inspiring to hear this story. But I keep everybody at the same level. He still has to perform. He still has to do the work. I'm not going to treat him any more special than anybody else. It's the way it is. I thought, well, maybe I can use this to my advantage and inspire some of the other people in the class and inspire myself. So I did a mini class on sports announcing. It wasn't part of the agenda, but you can change things around, because I think that's a positive thing. I let him do his wrestling thing. He's going to do his wrestling thing, and he came and he thanked me. Thank you so much, Craig, for letting me do that. And I found out about 10 years later down the road that here's a guy who could barely speak. It was all air. He's not a wrestling announcer now. He's even better. He's a public motivational speaker. And I'm hoping that maybe me getting him up in that class to do that in front of the class maybe was a little kernel of inspiration for him. I think it's a responsibility of teachers to include everybody in the class. I'm a big believer in dreams. I'm a dreamer myself, and I think that, who are we as teachers, as broadcasters, to squash somebody's dream, whether they're, disabled, whether they identify with a specific group, whether they're young, old, male, female, it doesn't really matter. I think more people, young people especially, are open to hearing different ideas and hearing different voices. And I also find that when I bring in different voices to speak to them, when I bring in these different teaching practices, often are completely out of my realm of comfortability as well. Some things work, some things don't. When you go out of your comfort zone as a teacher, the students pick up on that, and they'll feel it's okay to go outside of their comfort zone. It's our responsibility as teachers to be inclusive. It's equally important for them to realize that the possibility is there for you. When you see that they feel included, best class of the day.